Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here, and I am out in the woods. I am camping. Sorry, it looks like I'm telling a ghost story. It got dark really quick here, so I wanted to record this podcast, but I don't have a ton of light with me, and it's dark now at 5:30. So if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this on Spotify, sorry, it's kind of dark, but I'm actually in the woods. I'm actually doing the thing. I'm out here camping and overlanding. So today I wanted to talk about how to modify your vehicle on a budget. Now, this may sound familiar. I've kind of done similar things to this before, but I put a lot of thought into it based on the experiences that I've had over the last 6, 7, 8 years. And I wanted to kind of bring you guys some real world tips to kind of give you some actionable items that you could use if you are just getting into this and you're just starting to modify a vehicle, or if you've just bought a new vehicle and you want to think again about, I want to do things different than my last vehicle. I've had quite a few vehicles now. I've had mistakes with all of them. So I'm going to incorporate a lot of that stuff and I'm going to share it with you guys in this episode. So if you want to learn more about building your vehicle on a budget and how to do it with real world actionable tips, stay tuned.
Sandstorm, I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you gave to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys. So as I mentioned in the intro, today I'm talking about how to build your overlanding vehicle on a budget. And again, I'm going to walk you through like real actionable tips. I'm going to kind of give you everything that I've learned and try and, take it from my brain and put it into yours. So let's start by kind of setting expectations, right? The first thing is to say budget doesn't equal unsafe, right? So like you're not going to do unsafe things. You're not going to buy cheap throwaway gear, stuff that's just going to break when you need it most. What we're going to focus on is we're going to focus on our actual needs. We're going to focus on buying things that are lower cost but have a huge impact on your overlanding trips. And we're going to focus on, making them applicable to what you really do based on where you live. So I'm in the Midwest, so my needs are totally different than someone who lives in Colorado or Utah or Wyoming, right? Which also may be totally different from someone that lives in Wisconsin or Michigan. And also could be totally different from someone who lives on the East Coast, right? So we're going to make it applicable to where we live. So first and foremost, think about where you're going to go. Think about what you're going to do. Are you going to be taking a dog? Are you taking your family? Are you going solo? Are you going with friends? Because that changes and can have a big impact on the type of gear that you need to get. If you're a solo overlander, you're going to need to focus more on recovery and self-recovery, specifically like winches and things like that. If you are going in a group, then you just need to make sure you have the minimum basic gear like soft shackles, recovery straps, and or kinetic ropes, that kind of thing. But you'll always have buddies with you that can help pull you out if you get stuck. So again, we're going to have to think about what kind of trips are we actually going to take? How often are we going to go? How much time are we going to spend out on a trip? Are we weekend overlanders? Are we week-long overlanders? Are we going full-time? Right? All that stuff is going to have an impact. So as far as modifying your vehicle on a budget goes, let's start by thinking about your vehicle. Take what you've got now, and the first thing that I can tell you, the thing that I've said over and over and over again, but I never get tired of saying because it helps, is get out and explore and learn. Start easy, start basic, stay close to home so that if something happens, you can get out of there and go home. Start easy. Don't go to crazy like trails where you're going to get stuck or break something and get trapped. Go to like your local national forest where you've got gravel roads that you can drive and find some camping spots and test your gear. Get out there and just see what you got. Take that camping stuff you've had for 10 years sitting in the garage and just go try it and see what you like and what you don't like. Okay, so where do you start? Where I would recommend starting is maintenance before mods. It's really easy to get sucked into that Instagram trap and you see all these really cool rigs and you think, I need to have 40s and I need to have lockers and I need all this stuff. Instead, focus on maintenance, right? Having a reliable vehicle is way more important than having a super capable vehicle. Of course, capability matters and you need to have something that's capable, but in most cases, especially, like I've mentioned before where I live, it's gravel roads for the most part. You might get into some stuff in some places like Kentucky or up in Michigan, but unless you're looking for it, most of the time you could go out and spend weeks at a time exploring, finding new campsites, finding waterside campsites, and having a great time without having to do super challenging stuff. Now, if you want to do challenging stuff, that changes things, right? If you want to have a super capable rig, then you still need to focus on maintenance before upgrades, right? Like you still need to make sure that the engine runs right, that the transmission doesn't have any problems, that your ball joints are greased, that all of your maintenance has been done, that your fluids are topped off, right? You need to make sure that the vehicle is going to get you there and back. But then you may put a little more emphasis on lifting a vehicle, putting some bigger tires on it. If you're going to be wheeling it, you want to put armor on it, sliders, bumpers, that kind of thing. Again, if you're solo a lot, you may want to focus on a winch, which is a little bit of an expense versus a lot of the cheaper recovery gear. And that's going to kind of bring us into the next piece of this, which is buy low cost but high impact gear. Things like, so once you get through the maintenance stuff, right? Once you are sure that your vehicle is solid, that it's going to get you to and from where you're going, and you feel really good about it, it's really reliable, and you've taken a few trips and you've kind of seen the holes in your setup, you're going to be really tempted to like buy really crazy fancy cooking gear if you like to cook, or really crazy fancy expensive bed stuff, right? Like Hest stuff like I run, which is amazing stuff. But it shouldn't be the first thing that you buy, right? You shouldn't go out and spend $400 on a mattress unless you have a really hard time sleeping or you're really worried about sleeping. You need to have a vehicle that's going to get you there and back first, and then you can focus on getting more comfortable, getting better gear for cooking, that kind of thing. So low cost, high impact gear are things like recovery gear, right? You can, again, as I mentioned, especially if you're going in a group, you can get some soft shackles and a recovery strap and a kinetic rope for a couple $100. So it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg to have the stuff that you need, that when you need it, it's going to save you in a pinch, and it's going to make a big difference in your trips. Because if you get stuck somewhere and you have to leave your vehicle or you have to pay hundreds of dollars to get it towed, you're going to wish you would have spent a little bit of money on some better recovery gear. So some other general instructions are, think about things as far as their importance. So we all think that we need a big lift. We think that we need more clearance. We need all this stuff. But in that instance, really, tires are more important. You can have a stock, like I have a Nissan Frontier. You can have a stock Frontier and put really good tires on it at stock height and do a ton of things that would surprise you. Whereas if you put a big lift on it and have crappy tires, sure, you're going to have more clearance. But if your tires can't take you where you want to go or get you over that obstacle, then it doesn't really matter, right? So focus on things like tires before lifts. Focus on recovery gear before, fancy stuff on the exterior. Focus on interior organization. Think about, how are you going to access your gear? Because you're going to need to use it a lot on a trip. So how do you get to your first aid stuff? How do you get to your cooking stuff? How do you get to different pieces of gear that you're going to use a lot on a trip, and organize the interior before you start strapping roto packs and traction boards and everything else to the outside of the vehicle to look cool? Now, then that takes us to another thing, which is you can buy a lot of stuff used. There are a lot of people that get into this hobby and then they try it for a little bit and they decide it's not for them. And when that happens, then they sell this stuff off at a fraction of the price. I actually sell a lot of stuff used because I tend to go through a lot of gear. I try new stuff out. I get new stuff sometimes for free or for a discounted price. And so I sell a lot of stuff that I just end up not needing because I have 4 diesel heaters, for example. Facebook Marketplace is your friend. Overlanding for sale pages are your friend. Pay attention to those pages and look for deals. If you're not in a big rush, you can wait a little bit and you can find a great deal on a diesel heater, a great deal on some, a bumper for your vehicle or things like that. Most of my vehicle modifications that I bought have been used, because if you find somebody that put 5,000 miles on a suspension lift and then they sold their truck, or maybe they bought the suspension lift and then sold their truck before they ever installed it, which happens more than you would think, you can get that stuff for, again, a fraction of the price, basically brand new, and save yourself a ton of money. Now, the things that you don't want to buy used are things like recovery gear. That makes me nervous. Recovery straps, like, why are they selling it? If it's brand new, if it's never been opened, that's a little different. If you can find someone that has it still in the box and still obviously unused, then you could do that and buy that stuff used. But with most recovery gear straps and things like that, you don't really want to pick them up used if they've really been used, because you risk potentially a dangerous situation if that were to fail. So be careful what you buy used and what you buy new, right? Like recovery gear, I tend to buy new. Suspension, vehicle parts, bumpers, things like that, really easy to buy used. Speaking of, if you have a second-gen Frontier and you are looking for high clearance front and rear bumpers or a bed rack, full height bed rack, I have it all for the second-gen Frontier and it's in great shape, and I would sell it to you at a great price. So hit me up. Then that takes us to do it yourself versus like buying stuff, right? That is how I've managed to do as much stuff as I've done over the last 7 years or so, is that I'm too cheap to buy stuff. Like, one of my trucks had a decked drawer system in it, and it was nice. It was fine, but it was like $1,300. So in my new truck, I spent all this money on the new truck. I didn't want to spend another $1,300 on a deck system, and I had leaks in my deck system. It wasn't perfect for me. So not only did I, kind of have problems with my deck system, but I also just didn't want to spend the money. for about $200, I built my drawer system. It has more capacity. It works better for my stuff. It leaves room on the side so I can put longer stuff in there beside the drawer system. And it gives me everything that I need at a fraction of the price. So, consider DIY stuff. Same with like fridge slides. I have a tilting fridge slide that I built for about $20 out of a couple pieces of plywood, a piano hinge, and a couple lashing straps and D-rings. There's a video. I'll put a card to it up here if you're watching on YouTube, or if you go to my YouTube channel, just search for do-it-yourself fridge slide and you'll find it. But like, I made that thing for $20 that has worked for years in multiple vehicles now and is amazing. I love it. I use it all the time. Every time I open my fridge, I'm using this thing. And you can buy those things for, as much as $1,000 to $1,500 for those ones that pull out and then drop down. Like, they're really, really expensive. Or you can figure out a way to do it yourself and save yourself hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Same goes for rooftop tents. I tried to make my own rooftop tent. My limitations came when we got to the sewing part, especially because I had heavy duty waterproof fabric and my wife's sewing machine broke the first time we tried to sew it. But if you have the capability to sew, or someone that can sew and could help you with that, you could make your own rooftop tent for under $500 pretty easily and make it exactly what you want, dimensions that you want, the features that you want, versus having to go buy one. Now, the rooftop tents for me are a little close to it's a little bit more work than it's worth, in my opinion. You can get really nice rooftop tents like the Wildfinder or the Nature Nest for about $1,000 to $1,200. My top oak that I've got right now is about $1,800 to $2,000, and it's awesome and perfect. So, in that case, you may want to buy something like that and save up and get it. But you want to make sure that you're a rooftop tent camper before you make that expenditure. See if you can sleep in someone else's rooftop tent. See if you can try one out. See if you can rent a car somewhere or something that is outfitted for overlanding and try out the gear. Make sure that that's what you want to do. You want to climb up a ladder and down a ladder if you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, all that stuff. So just think about that stuff, right? Think about don't just think about the allure of a rooftop tent. I personally love rooftop tents. I'm not anti-rooftop tent, but you definitely do have to think about the pros and cons and decide if they're for you, right? If you are older and you don't want to climb up a ladder, the rooftop tent's not going to work no matter how comfortable it is. Maybe you need a teardrop or a trailer, right? So just be thinking about those things as you're going through it. So modifying your vehicle shouldn't be super crazy. Let's kind of wrap this up here and I'll give you my final thoughts. We're going to keep this one short. Think about your actual needs. Think about your actual trips. How many people are you taking? Is it just you? Is it you and a family? Are you bringing a dog, which introduces a whole nother slew of things you need to think about? Are you going far away? Are you going close? Do you need something with better gas mileage or worse gas mileage, right? Like, does it matter if you have a truck that gets 15 miles per gallon? Are you always going 10 hours away, or are you going 2 hours away? So think about the types of trips you take. So think about the people that you're going to bring. That impacts your recovery gear. That impacts so much of your gear, right? It impacts so much of your stuff, to really think through it. And a lot of people just get excited. They watch these videos on YouTube. They look at Instagram and they decide they're just going to go and do it. And they start buying stuff and outfitting their rig. And then they get a year into it and tens of thousands of dollars spent. And all of a sudden they're like, I hate this. I don't like any of this. And then they're selling it all on Facebook Marketplace, where you can take advantage of it at a fraction of the cost because they screwed up and they didn't actually think about it. So definitely put some brain power into it. Think about it. Get out and get that experience first before you start buying stuff, so that you make sure you're buying the right gear that's actually going to make your trips better. And then you can do it. You can modify on a budget. Focus on the maintenance first. Focus on the reliability. Then get into stuff that actually impacts your trips, like tires, like better lighting, better organization, and then move up through the ranks. And then again, you can sell that gear off too. If you decide that's not for you, you could sell it off and you could switch your setup. You can go from a bed rack to a cap. Is what I'm doing right now. So just be thoughtful about that stuff. Go slow. Don't jump into anything. Don't focus on the Instagrammers and the YouTubers. Focus on what you really want to do and what's going to make your trips better. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful for you. I know that was a short one, but again, I hope that was helpful. It's cold out here. I'm getting ready to get up in the tent with the diesel heater, but I wanted to get you guys this episode put together and posted for you. So if you're on YouTube and it was helpful, click that like button, click that subscribe button. If you're on the podcast, leave a 5-star review and add it to your favorites. It's awesome and it helps a ton. In the description down below will be links to all my social channels. So wherever you want to come hang out, I'd love to have you. Just come hang out. There's also a link to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers. Things like I hate people so I camp, or F people let's go overlanding. So if you're into funny stickers and patches for your rig or your fridge or whatever, check that out. If you're on YouTube, there's a join button below this video, which is just a passive way to support the channel. Or if you'd rather be more involved, there's also a link to my Patreon page, which is awesome. There's tons of awesome guys in there now. We're going on a couple trips every year. We have a 24/7 Discord where we chat and share memes, and we're doing a once a month Zoom call. So if that sounds good, check that out. And then last but not least, there is the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Now, this is a totally free to join group with almost 30,000 people at the time I'm recording this, and it's awesome. There's no bullying like the big groups, or way less bullying than the big groups. I try and kick people out if they're jerks, and we don't have all the self-promotion. So if you want to ask questions or if you want to help newer people and you're tired of the big groups, that may be a good option for you, and you should check it out. But again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys, and happy 2026, and we'll see you on the next episode.